It is often called the world's longest undefended border, and it's tempting more and more people to cross it illegally. Another 2 men tried last night, but as Susanna Da Silva reports, their run into Canada was cut short by an increasingly vigilant border patrol.
Here, the Canada-U.S. border is protected by a barbed wire fence, though it's less than a meter high and marked only with a very small sign. Hard to guess this is an international border, but don't think no one is watching. 2 Mexican nationals learned the hard way. They were near the U.S. side last night around 10:30. American authorities investigated and were in the process of arresting them when one made a leap across the border. Abbotsford police were then called in to help.
We created a bit of a box, deployed the dog, and with good fortune, within an hour, the dog was the first to actually make contact.
A 35-year-old man has now been handed over to Canadian border officials. The other 33-year-old man is in U.S. custody, along with a loaded handgun found in their duffel bag. For Abbotsford, situations like this aren't that unusual.
We would receive calls on a weekly basis about either breaches or potential breaches to the border. An actual apprehension of somebody who has breached the border on the Canadian side, specifically in Abbotsford, I would suggest takes place on a monthly basis.
While our camera crew was at the border, it took only a few minutes before a helicopter came to see what we were doing, and a couple minutes later, an officer arrived to talk to us. Canadian and U.S. authorities say they work very closely to protect the border and point to what happened last night as a perfect example of that. Though there are still challenges, the 2 sides can't communicate with the same radios.
There's always room to look at new things, and it's something we undertake regularly.
It is still considered the world's longest undefended border, and the question no one knows is how many make it across illegally.
It's just the nature of criminality. It's just very difficult to measure.
Even though no one knows how many sneak across, authorities say they catch people all the time. Susanna Da Silva, CBC News, Abbotsford.